So, you have a Pokemon game for me?
Yes, sir, I do. It's called Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
Oh, that's an interesting title. Medieval weaponry. We've had colors, precious materials, letters, celestial bodies. The only logical next step would be medieval weaponry.
Yes, sir, you're right.
But how are we going to design the legendaries after a sword and a shield? Won't it be hard to make a sword Pokemon and a shield Pokemon and keep a child-friendly rating?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, basically we're just gonna make them giant wolves that hold those weapons.
What?
Yeah, one of them is going to have a giant gold sword hanging out of its mouth, and the other is going to have a big mane that can solidify itself into a big shield. So what about the third legendary? You know, the leader of the trio? There's always a third.
Oh yeah, that thing's gonna be called Eternatus, and it's gonna look vaguely like a lance. Aw, lances are tight. Yes, sir, they are.
Wait, why does Eternatus get to look like a proper weapon while the other two are just wolves?
Well, Eternatus isn't actually part of a trio with the other two. In fact, they absolutely hate that thing. It's the source of this game's gimmick, and the other two are there to fight against it.
Oh, why would they want to fight against it? Is this game's gimmick evil?
Unclear.
So what is this game's big gimmick? You know, Gen 6 had Mega Evolution, Gen 7 had Z moves. What's gonna be this game's big selling point?
Oh, it is a big selling point indeed. Well then, what is it? Trust me, it's huge!
Are you building up something with this vague wording?
Giants! What?
This game's gonna feature a gimmick called Dynamax, where Pokemon grow into like 100-foot tall giants and use superpowered moves for 3 turns. Oh, so the power-up is only for 3 turns? That's a nice balancing decision. Why'd you make it? Are these giants super OP with like drastically buffed defense and attack or something like that?
HP.
Huh? Dynamax literally only buffs HP. It starts out as a 50% buff, but you can feed candies to your Pokemon to increase their Dynamax level so their HP can be buffed up to double. Oh wow, so this region is just gonna have giant Pokemon all over the place? That's gonna make trainer battles really interesting. Oh, no, it can only be done in a few select places where there are these invisible things called power spots. They're only found under the gyms and in this giant field we're developing called the Wild Area.
So, what about these superpowered moves? How do they work?
Oh, they're called max moves. When a Pokemon Dynamaxes, all of its moves become max moves. There's one for each type and they're super OP. Isn't that exactly like the Z moves from Generation 7?
Oh, you noticed that, huh?
Pretty sure everyone will, considering it was literally the last generation.
Nah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
So Dynamax only lasts for 3 turns, makes Pokemon perform Z moves, and only buffs their HP? Gosh, you'd think with it being literal giants, their defense will be buffed from how big they are or something like that. Well, actually, the Pokemon don't actually become giants. Wait, what? But you just said— Well, we're gonna put a few obscure references hidden around the region that talk about how Dynamax is actually the space around the Pokemon warping, making them look bigger.
And yet their HP and moves are still changed?
How does that make sense?
Because.
That works. So, do you want to hear about the story? Sure, I'd love to see what's the deal with these not actually giants. So you remember how Gen 7 was heavily criticized because of how long and slow and tedious the story was to get through? Yes, I do. Not our strongest moment. Well, I decided that we should take that criticism to heart. Oh, great idea. Learn from your mistakes. Yeah, so basically, instead of a stupidly long and overcomplicated story with at least 4 hours worth of cinematic cutscenes, this game's gonna instead have practically no story at all. Oh, just getting rid of the story substance altogether. That's an interesting move, but it makes sense. Kids these days are notorious for their awful attention spans. Yes, sir, you're right. So the opening cutscene is going to feature this businessman named Chairman Rose giving the usual introductory speech that starts every game.
Oh, is he gonna be the bad guy?
Huh? No, what on earth would make you think that? Just a hunch. Anyway, please continue. So the cutscene goes on and we see Champion Leon and his Charizard starting a battle with one of the gym leaders. Okay, 2 things. 1, gyms are back? Yeah. And 2, the champion's signature Pokemon is a Charizard? The Gen 1 Fire Starter? Yes, sir, it is. Pretty great move, right? People are gonna love them because of their nostalgic attachment to Gen 1.
Aw, nostalgia baiting your audience is tight. We've been doing it for the past 2 gens now, and it totally hasn't backfired on us in the slightest.
You're right, sir. I assume he's gonna have a Blastoise and a Venusaur on his team as well? What? No, why would he? Well, you gotta remember, not everyone chose Charmander in Gen 1. The ones who chose Squirtle and Bulbasaur are gonna feel pretty neglected, won't they? I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay then. So anyway, as the fight begins, Leon shouts out, "Charizard, Dynamax!" Then we see the audience's reaction to his Charizard slowly and dramatically growing into his Gigantamax form.
I'm sorry, Gigantamax?
Oh, Gigantamax is an alternate form of Dynamax that's exclusive to a select number of species of Pokemon, and an even smaller number of members within that species. Oh, an alternate form? So it's like Mega Evolution. Does this change the Pokemon stats? No sir, just HP, just like regular Dynamax. Though they do have their own exclusive max moves.
I mean, that just sounds like it's essentially just Mega Evolution again, but significantly less impressive.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to get off my back about the previous generation's gimmicks. They're not even gonna be in this game.
What?
Yeah, we decided it would be a lot easier on us if we didn't port over the already existing code, models, and animations of Mega Evolution and Z moves. But wasn't Mega Evolution already on the Switch in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee?
Nope, too much trouble. Mega Evolution is out, alongside Z moves.
But people loved Mega Evolution. Won't they be upset how Gigantamax is essentially just a watered-down version of Mega Evolution? Also, what's the point of giving a new form to a Pokemon if said Pokemon needs to be a giant to use it? Doesn't that restrict it so much?
Please stop looking so far into this, sir.
Also, didn't you say earlier that Dynamax is just the space around the Pokemon warping, making them look bigger? How does that apply to Gigantamax? Is the warped space also making them look different? Is it just Mega Evolution being enhanced by this projection stuff? Why is it only a select number of Pokemon within a species? Is it part of their DNA? Gigantamax makes even less sense than Dynamax.
You're just gonna have to trust me on this, sir. Mega Evolution is gone. Z moves too. Dynamax and Gigantamax are the way of the future.
Please get all the way off my back about this.
Okay, let me get off that then. Please continue with the story.
So we cut to the main character watching Leon's fight on their phone. Then this new rival character named Hao comes in.
How?
Wasn't he the rival of the last generation?
Oh, sorry, I meant his name is Hop.
Oh, Hop, that makes a lot more sense. So what's his deal? Well, he's the little brother of Leon, and he wants to be the very best like no one ever was and be better than his brother.
So what's his personality like?
Well, do you remember Hao from the previous generation?
I do indeed, considering I literally just mentioned him.
Yeah, so basically Hop is
that again.
Beat for beat, completely identical.
That would explain the similar names.
Yeah.
So he's literally the rival from the previous generation again?
Yes, sir, right down to choosing the starter with the disadvantage. Though we were concerned that people might confuse him for Hao, so we did decide to add one little attribute to his character.
And that would be?
He is obsessed with reminding the player about type advantages. When you use a super effective move against him, he pauses the battle entirely to remind the player that the hit was super effective.
Doesn't the text box already say whenever hits are super effective?
Yeah. Well, I suppose mentioning type advantages in the very first battle of the game would be a good tool for helping newer players.
Yes, sir, you're right.
So we decided that he should comment on type advantages in literally every single fight with him.
What?
Yeah, our players nowadays are complete idiots who don't understand the basic concepts of even the starter trios type matchups. Don't you remember how we put the effectiveness of the moves in the UI in Generation 7?
Well, I do, but that was more so for when the effectiveness of something you've already fought may have slipped your mind.
Did we get rid of that? No, it's still there, but we felt the need to really hammer it into the player's mind whenever they encounter Hop. People who play video games are idiots. I feel like that's gonna annoy the players, at least a little bit. Pausing the very first fight in the game to give newbies a quick pointer is one thing, but even when you're near the Pokemon League, you still feel the need to remind the player of type advantages?
Yeah. Alright, please continue.
So Hop tells the player that Leon is on his way to meet them and give them their starter Pokemon. Hold on, didn't you just say that the player is watching Leon's fight on their phone? How is Leon already on his way to the player's hometown if he hasn't even finished his fight?
Maybe the player was watching archived footage, I don't know.
So after receiving the starter, not a lot happens aside from the player encountering a phantom version of their game's box art legendary.
Wait, why is it a phantom? Why can't it be an early encounter with the actual thing?
Well, the player needs the legendary's respective weapon to properly interact with them.
So why is the player encountering them at all? Because.
That works. So a little more happens as the player continues down the very linear routes 1 and 2 until they reach Professor Magnolia's house. While they're there, she explains the concept of Dynamax to the player and Hop.
Why would she feel the need to explain the concept of Dynamax? There's multiple reasons why she wouldn't. What do you mean?
Well, you said that the player was watching Leon fight on their phone, and the opening cutscene established that Leon uses Dynamax. If the player's a fan of Leon, why wouldn't they be familiar with Dynamax?
Maybe the fight the player was watching was the first fight they ever watched Leon in,
and maybe Leon didn't use Dynamax in that fight.
Also, what about Hop? If he is Leon's brother, then he'd definitely be familiar with Leon and his giant Charizard.
Well, you see, we needed a way to give exposition about Dynamax to the player, so we figured the regional professor would be the perfect way. We didn't feel the need to look so far into the specifics of what would and wouldn't make sense to explain to the protagonist. Oh, okay, please continue. So after this exposition in another rival battle, some wishing stars fall from the sky and land near the player and Hop.
Wishing stars?
Oh, they're what allow trainers to use Dynamax in a controlled way. Oh, okay. Sure was lucky they landed in front of the player then and there. Yeah, so then Professor Magnolia takes the wishing stars and makes Dynamax bands for the player and Hop, so now they can use Dynamax.
Oh, wow.
Then Professor Magnolia's granddaughter, Sonia, decides to join the player on their adventure.
Oh, Sonya, what's her deal?
So basically, she was intrigued by the player's encounter with the Phantom Legendary and wanted to join the player out of curiosity. Along the way, she starts to notice some inconsistencies with the Galar region's legends and pursues the truth. Oh, so for the first time in Pokemon history, the legends are wrong? That's an interesting move. Yeah. But is Sonya really the first person in the entire region to ever notice the inconsistencies? I mean, surely somebody else in the entire region would likely notice inconsistencies.
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie.
So then the player, Hop, and Sonya take a train to the city where the opening ceremony for the gym challenge is starting. Oh, so the gym challenge is a scheduled event now? The player needs to follow a tight schedule like in Zelda Majora's Mask? Gosh, that's gonna really make this game stand out. No, the player still moves at their own pace, though the gyms will be presented as giant stadiums filled with thousands of spectators, so it's heavily implied to be a scheduled sporting event. Oh, okay. So anyway, the train gets stopped by a flock of wild Pokemon hanging out on the track, so the protagonist Hop and Sonya need to walk through the wild area to get to the city. Oh, the wild area? What's that? Oh, it's this massive open area that the player can explore to their heart's content, where they can see wild Pokemon wandering around in their natural habitats. Wow, that's really cool. What else does this wild area have going for it? Ah, it's gonna be so amazing! It's the only area in the game where you can freely control the camera and see other players in real time. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, and the area itself is gonna be gorgeous! Except the trees. We wanted the trees to look like they came straight out of Ocarina of Time.
Straight out of Ocarina of Time? You mean at least the 3DS remake, right?
Nope! Original N64! People are so nostalgic for the N64 these days, and Pokemon Snap was the first time people ever saw Pokemon wandering around in their natural habitats, so I felt that having the trees looking like they came straight out of an N64 game would remind the players of that as they see the current Pokemon wandering around in their natural habitats.
Gotcha. More nostalgia bait. I love it. What else does the wild area have going for it?
Well, dotted all over the wild area are these tiny little dens that the player can interact with to get into max raids, where up to 4 players can battle and catch wild Dynamax Pokemon. These Dynamax Pokemon are especially OP, since they can use a max move and 4 regular moves all in the same turn. The players can Dynamax one of their own Pokemon to have a better chance to fight against it, and they have to beat it in 10 turns or less, or else they get blown out of the dens. It's sorta like a boss fight. Oh, Max Raids, a multiplayer boss battle against a single powered-up Pokemon. That sounds exactly like raid bosses from Pokemon Go.
I have
absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Wait, hold on a second.
I just realized. You said the dens where these max raids take place are tiny and dotted everywhere on the map, right? Yeah. And yet these dens are the homes of wild Dynamax Pokemon. Yeah, pretty cool idea, right? Didn't you say that Dynamax Pokemon are giants? How the heck will these tiny dens be able to fit 4 humans, 3 regular-sized Pokemon, and 2 giant Pokemon?
I did not think of that.
Also, how do the wild Dynamax Pokemon stay big for up to 10 turns, while the trained Pokemon return to normal after only 3? Also, how are they able to use both max moves and regular moves, while trained Pokemon can only use max moves? Doesn't all of this imply that being a trained Pokemon makes said Pokemon weaker than in its natural habitat? Oh, no. You see, the wild Dynamax Pokemon are the very reason that the 3-turn limit exists on the trained Pokemon. All throughout Galar's history, the wild Dynamax Pokemon have been rampaging and destroying stuff. You know, typical kaiju behavior. So when the League figured out how to use Dynamax for themselves, they put the 3-turn limitation on it to keep the trained Pokemon from going crazy. See, you say that, and yet from what you've told me about the max raids, the wild giant Pokemon are just chilling in their impossible dens until the trainers arrive and ruin their peace. That's the exact opposite of a rampaging kaiju.
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie.
So moving on, the player and Hop eventually reach the city where the opening ceremony is. There they meet their 2 other rivals, Beat and Marnie, as well as Team Yell. Ah, Beat and Marnie, what's their deal? Oh, Beat is the typical edgy rival that fans have been begging for over and over again. Think Gladion from the last generation, but much more feminine. Oh, the edgy rival is a girl this time. That's interesting. Nah, Beat is a boy, but he sure as heck looks like an old grandma.
What?
Yeah, he's gonna have a long pink and purple trench coat, and he's gonna have long near white hair, and he's even gonna have long eyelashes to really sell that feminine look. Why didn't you just make him a girl then if you're just giving him all these attributes? Then Marnie is... Oh, wait, we're moving on. Okay then. As I was saying, Marnie at first glance looks like an edgy goth girl, but once the player gets to know her, she actually turns out to be a really sweet girl who cares for everyone around her.
Is that gonna be her character arc?
Nope, this is found out about her in literally her first interaction.
Then why make her look goth?
What is it with these rival characters and their looks contrasting their personalities? Expectation subversion? I don't know. Okay, that works. So tell me about this Team Yell group. Oh yeah, people are gonna love them! Do you remember Team Skull? I do! People loved them because they were pathetic wannabe criminals who took on the facade of stereotypical gangs in order to appear intimidating. Yeah, they were great! So we decided to do them again! Ah, 2 pathetic evil teams in a row. 3 if you count Team Flare. Oh yeah, I always forget about Team Flare. Most of us would certainly like to as well, sir. So Team Yell is a group of stereotypical gangsters who always want to cause trouble? Well, yes and no. See, Team Yell is actually Marnie's fan club. Oh, really? Yeah, so they go around and cause mild chaos to make progress for Marnie's rivals harder so she can become the champion. Gotcha. How does Marnie feel about them? Oh, they absolutely get on her nerves. She definitely prefers it when they're not around. Ah, so they're a toxic fan base. Gosh, we really know how that feels after people are so salty about Gens 5, 6, and 7. Yes, sir, you're right. So we made Team Yell partially to poke fun at our own toxic fans. Gotcha. I hear calling out toxic fan bases in entertainment is really popular these days. The Sonic Boom TV show is constantly poking fun at the Sonic fan base, and the Sonic fans just eat that up. Yeah, so I'm sure that our fans will feel the same way toward Team Yell and love them too. That won't backfire in the slightest. So the gym ceremony starts, and we see all but one of the gym leaders. Oh, is the missing one the leader of Team Yell? Oh, you figured that out, huh? Well, yeah. Why else would one of the gym leaders be missing, other than a reveal of them being the evil team leader? The only other time a gym leader's whereabouts were unknown was in Gen 1 with Giovanni, who turned out to be the leader of Team Rocket. Ah, exactly! Is it another Gen 1 homage? It's another Gen 1 homage. Oh, wow. So anyway, not a lot happens from here on. The player gets their badges, stops some random Team Yell shenanigans, and uncovers more of the truth to Galler's legends. Gotcha, that's where the lack of substance is. Yeah, but there is this one big moment where Bede gets disqualified from the gym challenge. He gets disqualified? What does he do? Well, you see, up until the point where he becomes disqualified, he's seeking out and collecting every wishing star he can, so he can give them all to Chairman Rose. It's a good thing he wasn't there when those 2 convenient wishing stars fell in front of the player. Yes, sir, indeed. So anyway, at one point in the adventure, he starts to attack a big historical mural because he thinks there's some wishing stars behind it. He attacks a big historical landmark because he has a hunch there might be magic cosmic energy things randomly behind it that literally nobody could reach? Yeah, he's not the brightest. Thankfully, Rose and his employees notice and stop him right before the mural crumbles, and they tell him that he's disqualified. Oh, that's a relief. So the mural is damaged but still intact? No, it crumbles immediately as soon as Bede leaves. Oh my gosh! But it's okay, because once the mural crumbles, it reveals a giant statue hidden behind it that contradicts a statue that Sonia had seen earlier in the adventure, so she immediately comes to the conclusion that it's older and therefore more accurate to the true legends. So the ancestors of the current Galar region population put up a giant mural in front of a giant statue of the more accurate legends? Why would they even do that? I don't know. Also, how does Sonia even know that the 2 statues are connected? If they contradict each other, wouldn't literally anyone else come to the conclusion that they're just unrelated? No, sir, you don't understand. Both statues show symbolism of a sword and a shield. That's the name of the thing! Yes it is. But just because 2 random statues both contain a sword and a shield doesn't mean that they're related to each other. There's literally millions of statues in the real world that depict people with swords and shields. Are you telling me that literally every one of those statues are of the same person? Are they not? No, not in the slightest. Oh. All my life I've assumed that any time there's a statue similar to another statue, those statues are immediately the same. Well, they're not. Well, I don't care. I'm keeping it in the story anyway. Okay, please continue. So a whole bunch more nothing happens until the player reaches the 7th gym city. There, they find a small crowd of gym challengers gathered at the entrance, and none of them can get in because the entrance has been closed off by Team Yell. Wow, is it gonna be hard for the player to get into the city? I mean, if a whole small crowd of trainers can't get through, then it must be a big issue. Actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yeah, Marnie shows up and tells the player that she knows a secret entrance to the city. Oh, that sounds interesting. What's the secret entrance? Is it a secret tunnel system that goes under the city? Like a sewer or something? Nope, it's an alleyway that can easily be accessed by going around a fence that's right next to the blocked off entrance. Wait, for real? Yeah. You mean to tell me that there's a small crowd of people gathered in front of the main entrance, and not one of them checks the side entrances to the city? No. And on that note, did Team Yell not know about that alleyway? Why is everyone involved in the situation being so idiotic? Look, do you want a moment of Marnie being nice or not?
Well, I mean, of course I do, but I'm sure there's a better chance somewhere for her to be nice. Well, too bad, I'm keeping it as it is. All right, please continue.
So inside the city, it's revealed that Team Yell is actually this city's gym trainers, and that the gym leader, Piers, is the leader of Team Yell. Shocker. So the player encounters Piers in the middle of a concert he's putting on for Team Yell. Oh, concert! That sounds fun. What's he gonna be singing?
Nothing. Come again?
Yeah, he's gonna be animated like he's having a rockin' good time singing to his heart's content. But because of the lack of voice acting, he's not gonna be making any noise.
Won't that be an unbelievably awkward cutscene to watch without any dialogue?
Probably. Shouldn't we get a voice actor for at least the rock concert?
No, that's fine as it is.
Didn't we have a Rockstar gym leader in Black 2 and White 2 as well? I'm pretty sure she sung her song even though that was on the DS. Sir, I swear we don't need voice actors for any of this. Nobody will care.
If you say so.
So Piers explains to the player that he created Team Yell because Marnie is his sister, and he wanted to show her support in her gym challenge. Oh, that's nice of him. Yeah, he also says that he wants Marnie to become the next gym leader there in his place. Huh? Why would he support her in her challenge to become the champion if he wants her to be a gym leader? She can't be both.
I know, and Marnie knows that too.
So she tells Piers that when it's her turn to fight him after the player.
Oh, gotcha.
So after the battle with Piers, which is the only gym battle without Dynamax, the player goes on their way to the final gym.
Wait, why is it the only gym battle without Dynamax?
Well, Piers' gym isn't built over a power spot.
Why doesn't he just move it then?
Oh, Chairman Rose absolutely offered for him to move his gym, but he declined because he hates Dynamax. He hates Dynamax? That's an interesting character trait. Why does he hate Dynamax?
Because I said so. Yeah, I mean, what's his in-universe motivation for being against it? Because I said so. Fair enough.
So what happens after getting the 7th badge? Oh man, you're gonna love this! I'm super proud of this moment!
Oh, this sounds like it's gonna be good.
So right after leaving the city, the whole area shakes.
Oh no! Then Leon appears out of nowhere and is all like,
"There's trouble ahead! This is a job for the champion!"
oh man, this is gonna be good!
Then the player chases Leon through a tunnel where there's a small crowd of people watching the tunnel's exit in complete awe. They're gonna be saying things like, "Is that the champion up ahead?
What's going on?"
And, "Whoa, I can't believe I'm watching this!" Oh boy, this is getting intense! What's the big mysterious threat that Leon is dealing with? The town ahead is being attacked by a wild Dynamax Pokemon! Oh man, that's an awesome setup for an epic climactic action piece! I can't wait to see what's gonna happen to Leon and see how the player gets involved! I'm sure you can't, sir! So the player exits the tunnel, and they get stopped by Hop, who tells him that Leon finished off the wild Dynamax Pokemon.
I'm sorry.
What?! Yeah, Hop shows the player a news article on his phone that shows a picture of Leon standing in front of a defeated Dynamax Pokemon. I'm sorry, but you mean to tell me that you had all that epic buildup, all that suspense piling up, and it all got resolved in less than 12 seconds off screen? Yeah, isn't it great? It's really gonna establish Leon as a powerful trainer that the player's really gonna have to try their hardest to beat.
I mean, won't the player want to see that?
No worries, sir. I've got that all figured out. See, after Hop shows the player the news article, all the other characters are gonna talk to the player about how awesome it was to watch Leon take down the Dynamax Pokemon all by himself. On that note, the player will think to themselves how impressive it is that he accomplished all by himself what can normally only be done with 4 trainers. Not only that, but the fact that the Dynamax Pokemon was in full-on crazy kaiju attack mode makes it even more impressive. Are you sure it's such a good idea to have such a significant and impressive moment happen off-screen? If it were on-screen, then the player would see and know firsthand that 1, Dynamax Pokemon don't just chill around in their impossible dens, that they actually do go on destructive rampages like Galar's history says, and 2, that Leon is actually a force to be reckoned with. Trust me, sir, it's better as it is. With how much the NPCs talk up the event, the player will really wish they'd seen it for themselves, and that in turn will make them afraid of Leon even more. He was so powerful and fast that they weren't able to see any of it.
I'm pretty sure it will have the exact opposite effect, but whatever floats your boat, I concede that I'm not going to change your mind on this. Yes, sir, it's the first rule of storytelling. Tell and don't show. Pretty sure you have that backwards.
No, I'm right.
Hold on. Speaking of showing, another thought just occurred to me. How the heck did Hop have a news article to show to the player, photo and all? If it had happened less than 12 seconds before that point, there is no way that there would already be a full published news article about it. Those things take hours to make, especially if you want to include photos. Maybe the player was in the tunnel for several hours? But that makes no sense! Any normal person would go to the action and see what's going on as quickly as possible after all that commotion. How long was that tunnel? About maybe 300 feet? Wow, even less reason to miss the action. Please calm down, sir. I'm sorry, but this is not okay. There's so many better ways you could portray that plot point, and you chose the most infuriating one. I still fail to see the problem. Let's just agree to disagree. Fine, whatever. Please just continue. I don't care anymore. Good, neither do we. That would explain a lot. So then, the player gets the 8th badge, then they make their way to the final city. While there, they face Hop and Marnie one last time each in the finals of the gym challenge. Cool. Then after those fights, the players won the right to compete in the finals. Fun. Then Leon goes missing after promising to bring the player and Hop to dinner, so the player needs to work with Team Yell to find him. Why Team Yell? Well, after Marnie lost, they shifted their loyalties to the player by order of Piers. Oh, so Team Yell are a bunch of sheeple, switching loyalties on the fly at the commands of one person. Got it. So the player and Hop find Leon and Chairman Rose at the top of Rose's company's building. There, they overhear Rose talking to Leon about secret business. Ah, the chairman of the mysterious company is the true villain. Who would have guessed? I know! Pretty great plot twist, right? Anyway, Rose is trying to get Leon to skip out on the championship tomorrow because he needs his help. He explains to Leon that the Galar region is running out of energy and that Leon will be able to help. Okay, that seems like it might be an interesting plot point. How long until the energy runs out? A week? A month? A year? 1,000 years! You're joking, right? What's wrong? I shouldn't even need to explain why that makes no sense. I don't even know what Rose's plan is yet, but I'm assuming it's something big and dangerous if he's secretly discussing with Leon about needing his help to make it happen. Why would he be so crazy to think that an energy crisis that's literally a millennium away is such an urgent matter? If he is so dead set on solving this quote-unquote crisis, then what's one more day? A day to 1,000 years is significantly less than even what a second is to a day. This is such a non-issue. We love big numbers. Of course you do. Anyway, Leon declines, then the player goes through the finals tournament the next day. Who are they fighting? They rematch some of the gym leaders. Wow, so this is the first game ever without an Elite Four. That's kind of lame. I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. Anyway, before those rematches, Bede appears out of nowhere and crashes the tournament, and the announcers let the player battle him. Why? Well, earlier on in the game, shortly after he got suspended, the Fairy-type gym leader saw him, and in her obsession with the color pink, she forced him to go under her wing as the next Fairy-type gym leader. What is wrong with our writing team? So anyway, the player beats him, then they beat the gym leader rematches, then they face Leon. Cool, I'm ready for this train wreck of a story to end. It's not done. Oh, dang it. Yeah, right as the fight with Leon is about to begin, beacons sprout up from all the gyms as Chairman Rose announces his plan to the world. Oh, so the championship gets interrupted immediately as the final battle begins. That's exactly like what happened in Black and White, the games that were considered to have the best story by a lot of fans. Part of me wishes that was still now. What? Nothing. So Chairman Rose has awakened Eternatus, which is the source of the Galar region's power. It goes crazy and starts to cause the apocalypse. Oh no. Then the player and Hop try to fight it, then they lose. Oh no. Then the Sword and Shield legendaries appear and help stop Eternatus once and for all. Oh, okay. Yeah, then the player catches Eternatus and the day is saved. Hold up, what? How will the Galar region survive without its source of all of its power? Huh? Still, I guess it's good that Dynamax will be gone. Those kaiju Pokemon will no longer be terrorizing the region. What are you trying to say? Though that would mean losing the max raids. Those actually sounded neat. What? Those still go on. What are you trying to say? Wait, what? If Eternatus isn't wild and free anymore, it won't be able to produce its energy anymore. Pokemon will stop Dynamaxing, but Galar will lose its power in the process, completely undoing Rose's well-intended but horribly untimely placed plan. What do you mean? Just because it's captured doesn't mean it can't produce its energy anymore. Wait, what? How does that make any sense? I don't know. Fair enough.
So yeah, after that fiasco, Rose turns himself in, and the player battles Leon and becomes champion. Roll credits.
Wow, okay, my gosh. That story was kind of all over the place. So, story aside, what do you think? Well, it certainly is a Pokemon game. That whole Dynamax thing does seem like a cool concept. I just wish it could be better developed than just an HP buff. Maybe the anime could take it and turn it into something interesting. Yeah, the anime is great at developing stuff we fail to. Remember Zygarde? I'd rather not. What? You'd rather forget about the existence of Zygarde? That's not what I meant.
Well, if you want us to cut Zygarde out of the games, I'm sure we can.
Oh, please don't do that. That is not what I'm suggesting at all.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, cutting a lot of the lesser used Pokemon could really save on memory.
Please, literally do not.
Yeah, after Let's Go only had Kanto Pokemon, we've proven that a modern day Pokemon game can exist without all the modern Pokemon. This could work.
Please, stop suggesting that we get rid of Pokemon.
Don't worry, sir, I'm on it. Sword and Shield will now only have 400 total Pokemon.
What?
I feel like that's gonna annoy the players, at least a little bit. Pausing the very first game in the fight to give new... Did I just say the very first game in the fight? Wow, what a mix-up. Well, you said that the player was watching Leon fight on their phone, and the opening cutscene established that Leon uses Dynamax. If the player is a fan of Leon, why wouldn't they be...
Then why make her look goth?
What is it with these rival characters and their...
Okay, that works.
So tell me about... Okay, that works. So tell me about this Team Yellow group. Yellow? Did I say... I said yellow. I meant to say yell, and I said yellow. What the heck just happened? Oh yeah, people are gonna love them. Do you remember Team I said yell again. I meant to say skull. I do. People love them because they were pathetic wannabe criminals who took on the facade of Yeah, he's gonna be animated like he's having a rockin' good time singing to his heart content.
Oh, Chairman Rose absolutely offered for him to move his gym, but he declined. Declined? I said declined. I meant to say declined, and I said declined. What does that even mean? Why is this not scrolling? There we go.
Oh man! That's an awesome setup for an epic climax act. Ah, come on, what the heck? I'm sure you can't, sir. So the player exits the tunnel, and they get stopped by Hop, who tells them that wow. I had such a good flow going, and then I flubbed. What the heck?
Wait, what?
If Eternatus isn't wild and free anymore, it won't be able to produce its energy anymore. Pokemon will stop Dynamaxing, but Galar will lose its power in the process, completely undoing Rose's well-intended but horribly untimely plans.
Wow, I had such a good flow going again, and then I ruined the line.